During this Virtual McArt lesson, we are going to be creating this cute little clownfish here that's just floating along under the water with this beautiful tie-dye background that has been created using just marker pens. I'm using Crayola markers for mine. Now, what you work on is very important. It must be a thicker sheet of paper, like a watercolor. It could be a cardstock or mixed media. It must be thicker in order to capture this beautiful technique. Now, I am using a sketching pencil, eraser, a larger paintbrush for bleeding out those colors. I also have a very small paintbrush and a little bit of white acrylic paint on a piece of paper for adding a couple of optional highlights at the end. Now, to make this piece a little bit easier for me, and I recommend you do it too, I've created a little border, a frame. So I'm not going right to the very edge of the page. It's a lot of work to get the base color on the paper, so I do recommend working to a slightly smaller scale. Now, to begin my clownfish, what I need is a large oval in the center of my page. So what I'm going to do is start with two markers, one from the front of the fish and one for the back of the fish. So I'm going to do a little one here and another little one over here. So this is my fish's nose, and this is where his tail is going to start. So I'm going to have a tail here. So I still need some more space on this side. And then what I'm going to do is a little mark above and below. So this is going to be my fish's body in here. So very lightly, I can start bringing them together. This section's a little flatter, and then I'm going to get a little more rounded towards the back. And same underneath. Lovely. That's my body there. So that is my clownfish's body. Now I'm going to start to drift away from my fish's body here. And the same up top here for my fish's tail there. So let's just join that together. Lovely. So my clownfish has a little tail. Now my clownfish is missing his fins. So on top here, I'm going to do a little rectangular shape fin there. And another one behind, like that. He's a super quick little sketch. He also needs a fin on the side of his body. So following down from this one that's on top of his head here, I'm going to do another little one. Almost like a diamond shape that doesn't close all the way here on his side. And a little one underneath. In fact, I'm going to do one more slightly rounded one behind as well. Now, my clownfish needs a little eye. So what I'm going to do is a small section that masks off the front of his face here. Like that. Now this is going to be an orangey color later on. What I'm going to do for now is a little circle. That's going to be his eye later on. With a little spot in it. There we go. Cute little eye. And then I've got a happy little clownfish, so I'm going to do a bit of a smile there as well. Now I want to start masking off the different stripes he's going to have. So this is going to be orange, the very front. And then he's going to have a white strip that comes back to his fin here and down like that. And then I'm going to go to the back of his fin here, and I'm going to do one that drifts down like this. So orange, white, orange. Let's do another skinny white strip here. Then orange. Yours doesn't have to look exactly like this. Yours can have different stripes. You could even do a different color fish altogether if you would like to. And I'm going to do orange on the tail as well. Now that's my fish sketch done. So what I need to do now is start filling in my background with some beautiful colors. So what I have here are my Crayola markers. Now I've picked out some for my background, my nice bluey, greeny, purpley shades, and some colors for my fish. So fish colors, I'm going to put them to the side and just work with my watercolors to begin with. Now we're going to do a really fun technique in the background, and it's going to look almost like tie-dye under the water, kind of swirly whirly. So what I'm going to do, start by showing you a really cool way to create a background color. So lid goes on the back of the marker. Now, I'm going to start by doing a wibble wobble pattern. Going behind my fish. Very loose. Just using the point. Don't think about it too much because this is going to disappear and you won't even see it later on. Coming back the other way. Wibble wobbling. There we go. Doesn't that look kind of crazy? Now, what I want to do using these 4 colors is fill in each one of my little squirrely whirly shapes using the flat. So using this section here, I'm going to go over like this. Now I don't really want the same color in 2 shapes that are next to one another. So there is one shape filled in. So I'm going to do the same color in this one over here, making sure it's not touching that one. And I'm going to go through all of my shapes, making sure they're all filled in. See how I do the outside edge first? And then use long sweeping strokes to fill in the central area. Let's do this one here. So using the flat, tracing around the outside first. Nice and tidy. Then I'm going to fill in using nice long strokes. Let's do this one over here. And I'm going to repeat this with every single color that I have here. You could do slightly different colors if you want to. Perhaps you want more of a pinky background for yours. Whatever you would like to do. And let's work through our entire background, filling everything in. Okay, there we go. Done with my lovely ocean colors. So I'm going to put them to one side. And then I am going to jump into my water. So I have my beautiful fish here. I filled in all of my squares. These two ended up being close together, but I don't mind the light blue because it's going to give me a lovely light area down here. So what I'm going to do using my paintbrush here, I'm going to soak my brush. And I have my little paper towel here on standby. I'm going to soak my brush. I want lots of water for this because I want a really fun tie-dye effect. Now what I'm going to do is start activating the pen that's on the surface. So you'll see that that kind of patchwork quilt pattern that I have on there is going to start to disappear. Now it's not going to happen straight away. It takes a second for the water to sink in, grab the pen and pull it back up to the surface, and then it will start to disperse. So don't worry if you're still seeing streaks of color to begin with. It takes a second. You can see it starting to change there. Lovely. So lots of water on here. Ooh, look at that purple that's just exploded as the blue ran over the top there. Gorgeous. There we are. See it all blending away. Fantastic. So take your brush around, allow the colors to just slosh together. Be careful when you do have a fantastically explosive blend that's come through. Leave it alone. Don't go over and over and over it because it will start to disappear. Like that gorgeous pink there. I love that. So I'm leaving it alone. I'm just going to let that sit. It will continue to move around a little bit, but I'm not going to lift it up. Oh, this is looking beautiful. Have some fun with it. Watch those colors explode. Now, once it's started to lift up, what you can do, take everything off your brush and gently just go in and lift some areas. Do you see how I'm getting the white of the paper coming back through? So I'm creating some lighter pockets here. Now I can just put some little dabs of water on, and can you see how that's pushing the ink to the outside of that blob of water, giving it a really fun looking tie-dye finish to it. Just experiment with these colors. These marker pens are phenomenal. The different effects that you can get with such a basic material. It's very inspiring. You can do so much, but you just need to have the confidence to play around. Don't be too precious with what you do. You want to learn what these materials are capable of. Awesome. I'm trying to leave that pink area alone. I love that burst of pink up there, so I want to leave that alone. Let's go around our entire fish. Bring this little guy's ocean to life. Paying particular attention to any areas that you can still see those little lines. So I want to hide that grid that we started off with and just have all the beautiful blurs of color. So a very straight line going across here. I'm going to spend a second and give this some attention and camouflage that line. Oh, it's looking gorgeous. Now, using just a tiny bit of water on the end of my brush, I'm going to go in and just pop a couple little droplets in a few different areas to give it that lovely tie-dye look. So just a couple drops of water. Those water droplets are going to push out into the paper, and you can see up here how we're starting to get those lovely little pockets. There we go. Now my color is on and I've got the water gently lifting marker off the surface. It's pulling it up and pushing it out, so I'm getting these beautiful tie-dye effects going on. Now before I start my fish, I have to be very patient and let my work dry. Rinse your brush off and leave it laying down. We never leave our brushes in our water pots because it bends the bristles over. We always leave it laying flat. Now I need you to take a good 5 to 10 minutes and just let your background dry. We do not want to start on our fish until our background has completely dried. If we start our fish too soon and the background is still wet, the pen from our fish is going to bleed out into the background and we're going to end up with a blurry haze rather than a beautiful, bright, crisp clownfish. So take a break, 5-10 minutes, however long it takes, and I will see you soon. Okay, we are back and we have fantastic backgrounds. Look at that beautiful tie-dye ocean that I've created there. How does yours look? I'm excited to see it at the end. Now, check before you start this section. I've got the colors for my fish here, but I need to make sure that my background is dry, because remember, if it's wet, what's going to happen to these colors? They're going to go straight into my background, and we don't want that. So make sure it is dry. If it's not dry, be patient. Let it dry totally first. Now, what I'm going to do is start with my yellow marker. And I want to mark out, just as a little reminder to myself as I work through the fish, what areas are going to be a yellowy orange shade. So let's work through this together and make a little note on here. The head will be yellow. So put a little yellow spot there. This big section here will be yellow, and the fin, and this little fin, and this little guy down there. This one will be white, this one will be an orangey color too, and the tail at the end. So now we have little spots on all the ones that are going to be yellow, yellowy orange I should say. So what we're going to do now is work through and moving that out of the way so I can spin my work around to make an easier angle to work from. And I'm going to carefully go around the outside of each shape and then fill in using the flat of my marker here. So let's go. We are. My goodness, doesn't that yellow jump out next to that beautiful background? These markers are so satisfying to work with. You really can't vary the colors. They are all crazy bright. Look at them swimming along there. Beautiful. Okay, now I'm going into my orange shade next. And with my orange, what I'm going to do is get a little bit lighter towards the top edge of the fish. So imagine this is the top of your water here and the sunlight's bursting down through, hitting the top area of your fish. So with my orange, I'm going to start down low here and just sweep it from side to side, going up doing the little fin as well. And just a little bit here, like that. I'm going to do the same on all of the sections that are yellow right now, leaving that white area. And all of his little fins that are sticking out, same thing. Getting a little bit lighter towards the top. And then his tail. He does look a little silly right now, doesn't he? He looks kind of stripy. Trust me, he'll make sense very soon. So stopping as we go up. There we are. You probably guessed what we're going to do. We're going to blend the colors out just like we did in our background here. And he's going to look fabulous. Okay, next, my red. You've guessed it. Red is going to be the darkest color, furthest away. So down under his belly. So again, using the flat, low down. There we go, laying down that dark shade furthest away from the top of my fish there. He's a cute little clownfish. Lovely. Oh, a little bit on his fin there as well. Okay, so what I can do now, I still want to use lots of water to get that beautiful blended effect, but I need to be in absolute control over where this water goes to, because I do not want my fish to blend into the background. If he does start to trickle a little bit, it's okay. I can stop it with my brush by taking everything off and using my dry brush to stop the water from going any further, like a sponge, blotting it on my paper towel. And then wait for it to dry. We'll do a lovely dark outline that will help to hide that area. But be careful, we do want to try and avoid doing that. So going into my water, I'm dabbing this time because I want to be a little more careful. And I'm really trying hard to keep my color on the fish. There we go. You can see how my orange is going over my whole fish. Oh, he looks so beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful little fish there. There we go. Same on this area. You can see how the orange marker is blending up, getting lighter as we go up. Being very careful with the fins that are right next to that water. I don't want these colors bleeding together. Lots of control. This marker cannot go anywhere that you don't want it to go. You are in control. Slow movements, a little bit of water is all you need right now. Well done, guys. Are you being as quiet as me? We concentrate so hard when we're doing art, don't we? Quiet time. There we go, all the way up. There we go, nice and light to the top. Now I'm going to start pushing that red up, blending it in as well. My brush is getting a little dry, so I'm picking up a tiny bit more water. Lots and lots of control. This marker pen will not go anywhere. I will not allow it to go. There we go. He's looking fantastic. Now, guys, I'm afraid we need another dry break. Yes, we have to wait for this fish to dry before we can start adding our dark lines over the top, which is just going to make him pop right out. Now, when I'm doing pieces of work like this that do require a little bit of dry time, I normally have 2 pieces of work on the go at the same time. So I'll work on this one while it's drying. I'll go work on the other one. While that one's drying, I'll work on this one. So I'm not having to take long breaks. It's totally up to you if you would like to do that. If not, just take another break. Admire how awesome your fish is looking, and I will see you in 5 minutes. Okay, we are back. We've had lots of dry time and we are ready to finish bringing this guy to life. Now, all we need is our black marker pen for this. So lid off. on the back, and let's have some fun here. Now, first of all, I am using just the point, and before you do anything, make sure your fish and your background has dried, because what we do not want is the black marker to get pulled out into a wet surface. We'll end up with a very blurry looking fish. So now that I know mine's totally dry, I'm going to use just the point of my marker pen and carefully go all the way around the outside of my fish, the very, very outer edge there. So where the orange touches the blue, that's where I want my dark line to go. So let's carefully go all the way around our fish. Remember, you can rotate your fish as you go. I've gone around all of the outside. I'm going to go around my little guy's fin as well here using the point. So I'm getting a nice thin line. There we are, lovely and dark. Okay, I'm going to do my little fish's eye here. So I'm going around the outside, covering up that little bit of mist area there. I'm going to do a little pupil in there. He looks super cute. There we go. Now, the stripes that go down my fish's body, what I'm going to do is start with a thin line. So right where the orange and the white meet, I'm tracing down through with a thin line, and I'm going to thicken it up. But first of all, I just want a thin line to tidy up the edge of the orange all the way down. There we go. Now what I need to do is go back in and make those lines a little bit thicker. So a clownfish has a slightly darker black strip, nowhere near as big as the white or the orange. It's still rather narrow, but a little bit thicker than what you see there. So I'm going to push this one onto the orange a little bit, and you can see it creates such a bright contrast between the white and the orange. It really gets him to jump out. He's beautiful. I'm going to do the same here. I'm actually using this dark line to really tidy up my edges and hide any little areas that have bled out a little bit and created a bit of a blurry edge there. There we go. This little guy at the back here. And then I'm going to do around his head as well. Again, I'm turning to make an easier angle for myself to work from. There we are. Thank goodness, he looks so cute. And then the back of the tail here. I want to really thicken this dark area up a little bit. So I'm actually going to do all of this in here. Dark. There we are. He's looking fabulous. Now the ends of the fins here, top and bottom, and the side, we're just going to make those a little bit thicker, just on the upper edges. There we go. And around the back edge of this guy here. There we are. Now I want to do just a teeny bit of pattern work on the fins. Super, super simple. So using the point here, the very, very point, not the flat, the pointy bit, turn your work to make an easier angle for yourself to move around in. So don't twist your arm into an awkward position. So I'm moving my work and I'm just going to follow up the shape of the fin, same direction. And do a couple little wispy lines pointing in the same direction as the fin. Same with this little guy here. I'm going to do the same on the tail. Actually, the tail I'm going to turn this way and bring it from the dark area and whip it in like that. So following the shape of the tail there. There we are. Same thing on this little guy here. Just whipping the pen forward. Wonderful. Same on these ones. There we go. Doesn't he look lovely? Now he could be totally done, just swimming around there. But I'm going to jazz my guy up just a teeny bit more, and I'm going to give him a couple of white highlights. So here I've got a little bit of white acrylic paint on just a small piece of paper. I'm not using a palette for this. I don't need any water, so I don't have to worry about it running anywhere. I've got this and a very small brush. You see how small that is there? And I'm going to pick up just a little bit of white. And I'm going to start by doing just a teeny spot in his eye. A little white highlight there just to wake him up. Now the light is coming down from above and is hitting kind of the top edge of the fish there. So I'm going to just go along and just add a little bit of light right along the top there. Not going to show up on the white area. Just want a little bit of a bright highlight there. There we are. He looks lovely and shiny. Just going to do a teeny bit on the top of his fin here. A little bit there. Just plonking a couple little highlights in there, just on the top. And there we go, a couple little highlights to bring this guy to life, and he is done. Look at him there, ready to swim off. That was a very fun little piece of work to do. Yes, we had some dry time. We had to be patient and wait for the background to dry in between, but wasn't it worth it? Look at this beautiful tie-dye background that we've created there. Now, if you enjoyed this lesson, I recommend having another go at creating your very own under the sea masterpiece. And it could be of anything, not just a clownfish. We've already got one of those. How about doing a different tropical fish? Or a sunken pirate ship with treasure scattered everywhere? Perhaps an octopus or a shark? The possibilities are endless. Or you could keep it very, very simple and just do some coral and seaweed creeping in. The main thing we want to explore is this fabulous technique that we've discovered today. It is so much fun. But remember, when you do this technique, you must be patient and allow your background to dry completely before you start working on your main feature, or the two colors will bleed together, and we don't want that. Whatever you choose to do, remember the most important thing is you have fun with what you are doing. Now, I am so excited to see your guys' creations, so please share them in the comments on Facebook or YouTube. You can even upload your images to the student portal in Virtual McArt. Let's see your under the sea masterpieces.